Yebeshe, but I am quite human, so send a medical can no. Now, yending komo emfa the issue of ECG and 225% na omuhia say yebetu tum amomo no e distribution service charge no. Empokra no distribution service charge no ya. What is the meaning of that? And I face no ehun susuaso ema yen ordinary Ghanaians no eti saying yene ora Ben insia endi enkomo emfa ho oye panyini and as executive director at the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. Yeno no ending komo na onchirechire yemu yie ejaye de atini say ya na yenma yetie ye mamenom ye papanom ene yen meteka ma ye kosisia no so mo say distribution service charger eye den ya ainti no 225% increase no eye ECG for ehia ora ben mache eba eye mache so
ya minia
bibi abokode
ya me adom odi ache ya number so onso
erade adom huni hu wache
ebishia
amen yeah that's it. Orabanisia yenke mi shemu ni ete se ECG for se adomo the proposal akwakoto eye PURC say ankomo hia 225% increase in their distribution service charge over the period of 2025 to 2030 tariff period no. Me pachowa fabra formaye ECG for ade omo hwehwe ene distribution service charge no eye den ya.
That's media. Okay, power sector na there are various service providers, and a service provider be one charges OJ. ECG a distributor, the one the free the national interconnected system no. The consumer and as a end user. The one OJ free grid coho and the consumer no. Nisika was OJ. And IFN distribution service charge. Until to the Jumadi Awodino, Sika was all general to the distribution because we play the role of a distributor in the power value chain, also in 225%.
Oh, okay. Now, I no say or just increment here. Maybe so ye no mo a ye ordinary Ghanaians na ye so ye jin kania no ebe kan ya na bibisa wo ho.
Yes, ebe kan because it adds up to the whole tariff no structure no na no so no abe end up as a bill to you depending on send ye o use o kania but there be a make say kuma no there is no any philosophy behind prices and as a taxation and a levy bibia as a philosophy be any actually because we are also because of my no yaja amano abesa later make us answer within the scope of sustainable development goals. Your development goal 7 and development goal 7 a priority no and they say so Kenya is very affordable because Kenya is affordable. It alleviates a lot of people from poverty, what we call energy poverty. And I say, if you are Kenya board in Tino or Mukohiamu, and she made the boy for the mother donor free about 2 Kenya so boy for a industry a grow. And I say, with new manufacturing sector and be more expanded because they become very competitive on the international market. It will quite my mind to do now so that's the philosophy behind Omokania, a brilliant home as a Kanyano boy for so that Omutima for no only free him and now new man should be a pretty all of a lot of employment for. But you could man, I think that we don't have that philosophy. And you also say philosophy now, Bibiano, utilities no and as service providers in the power sector no mismanage no more by your say yentia na increase and sometimes there's no even justification for some of these increments at all because you see I mean because ECG before proposal with respect to tariff with respect to system losses. Now maybe system losses no they use 2 periods we use 2022 and we use 2024. And I'm doing projections. And I'm say Juma granting system losses no swati because 2022 no now 28% and 2024 about 27%, which is not true because in 2023 system losses jumped to 30%. Right? But because they want to justify at all, like they want to justify guilty of here as guy, we issue 2 end periods and I'm making justification. Now the second part also is that also more report or more proposal now they use depreciation and then also still they use 2 end periods 2022, 2024 and I'm saying I depreciate by about 74%. Yes, when you use end periods depreciation, but within those periods now we are the city appreciated and depreciated, and all these were factored in the quarterly adjustments and the amount and also almost the draw and the you get them being supported by PRC because the PRC itself doesn't have any philosophy in terms of pricing of electricity in Ghana and how affordable electricity can help contribute to our industrial growth and also alleviate poverty. Now let's look at the core issues. Yeah. These companies buy out, say into or more and it's because one, we've not created certain competition for them. They are monopoly companies. Buying Quadia, buying Quadiano, Bribiano, will say spoon video. And when we increase this tariff, look at the administrative expenditure, it balloons. Also, look at the frivolous procurements because I think one minister acting committee. So among procurement irregularities, it came out that they over imported 700+% of goods and services. So if they were importing wasting resources, then at the end of the day, all the country Ghana for say, you wasting resources, no more saying it doesn't make any economic sense. I think that is because you are spoon feeding them. Now, two, these companies are over-employ what we call duplication of jobs. Redundant employment. And they pay their employees huge compared to most of the sector service providers in Ghana, compared to teachers. So if you are a company, now you must find a way to cut cost. That's responsibility. And also cut the cost. Who cut the cost to know? That's a still was say a boy who say own cut the cost. Who does who procure bazaar? Who does who employ nipa bazaar? Who does who to do a katiamu akesi? Now who to do a katiamu akesi now who employ who procure bazaar no akasegana ni mitia. And you get PRC supporting some of these arguments. Now the other part also you say yes I say. And he said see a PSS can we mawadachi obey but at Diani Abridia Obebase Yentu and Yinam Kaniamono. Yetu Noah. No what's happened the Democrat in the West.
Oh, so saying examples we have, I mean, 30 cases we have. In 2022 when we did the major tariff review, right? Some of these proposals were made. And because of this proposal, you started a quarterly adjustment. And from that time, September 2022, or in August, from September, you increase more abribia, you increase more abribia. You increase more mono. And somewhere around 2023, 2024. And Omuko create accounts, over 60 accounts. And Omuko create over 60 accounts. PRC and to me and Sanshomo because PRC now grano. Oslo. We are here. PRC even sanctioned their directors and their board of Omo governing boss, Omo chair. Omo sanction we could see and go back here. Right? So we increase your money no. Now if you can offer coin this so I say sikano. Because when you say so on your back so pisika
PRC at the mano. One for the Napramano the Kakaman. So the efficient way of managing these firms, we are not going to get it. And that is why I was happy. Initially, said, I'm buying be introducing some private sector participation within the chain. So that competition will improve efficiency. But then also many we are see. Now lastly one fan count. When we are distributing over 1 million meters. So over 1 million meters, this will almost 45% will be recalled because they never papa. So catch them in India. Meters can amount instead of so making sure say be very efficient. As saving now as or minor. Meters can amount now we say scan. Now we discan now we say no. We say we are some because India. And you bet here because I buy no any philosophy with respect to electricity pricing. Only strategy here. Only say electricity price could contribute to industrial growth. Only say the economy bit expand. Just ensuring say electricity is very affordable to any industry in Ghana. Only say the industry ni equal say very uncompetitive to Chinese, to Indians, because the cost of manufacturing is very higher compared to these countries. Banks say bo. The Canadians will be for more water and also cry west. How do we become competitive? And that is why China Mall, anyone want more dominate the system now. Because the industries cannot be competitive. There's no philosophy. And maybe be an PRC, I think the 225 million or more. But here they are. You increase for them. But increasing for them, there must be measures to also ensure that in future, they are very cost effective. They are very cost efficient. So that efficiency and effectiveness, because in the coming years, fuel auto, natural gas, a born air for bar.
Okay.
Natural gas, auto, ne boy for bar. Liquid fuel, auto, say 2022, a brand of COVID, events in Russia, Ukraine war, buy. Now, auto, even gas oil, almost $1,000 per metric. I think one of them even high to $1,200 per metric. Me, I mean, say, it won't be anywhere doing 700. It is a fuel, all the power or plant. But that was some of the liquid fuel, a born IFO. Two, natural gas, and said, so, ni IFO. With inflation, I mean, in 2022, no, a big one, and I'm 54. And wisely, they didn't even infuse inflation in their proposal. And they knew it because so the inflation in 2022, they are around 54%. Around 11%. Why didn't they include inflation in their projections or proposals? Because so many say the bar and so many are.
Clearly, as someone can quite say, then we come back with the same. I don't want to try use the word excuse. So it becoming fatigue for the ordinary Ghanaian. For instance, when I read or we read certain things like this, ECG said low tariff levels in recent years have weakened its profitability and liquidity, and the company recording negative returns on equity. Now listen to this. The utility stressed that without cost reflective tariffs, its ability to maintain reliable electricity supply and invest in infrastructure will be jeopardized. Sasemia ECG 4K. Ghana Water Kebida. Minim utility company bia anase institution bia okrum hanoma se eba betu bibi mu anase mo pe justification bia enye infrastructure na se improve ye niema investment na den and like you rightly said ye be sadie we nyina shooting from 19.0875 pesos per kilowatt hour they say to 61.8028 pesos. Then my own the next 6 months 7 months my own the next 1 year we will not see that reality within that same space. Saniam and ACC, who comes back to check on them? Is it PRC? And when they do, are there sanctions that they are able to give? I mean, such institutions are now.
Yeah, I think that another problem we have as a country is that these organizations are not independent, especially PRC. The way PRC directly falls under the presidency is a wrong thing, and as a country we need to look at it because presidency on one ECG, on one GridCo, on one VRA, and for that matter, on one VRA now. PRC sanction as an own to be sanctioned on the company, and we observed that during the ex-Wal government, Brana ECG Kodi Bonibia, any Quansomudi, Brana ECG Diatro. I think that time ECG came out say some of the outages now airban is because of almost some transformers. PRC investigation who say Omubwa and Omudiatro and two. PRC catch almost keep I think 2 accounts or so, but no more keep over 60 accounts, and also no PRC agent a sanction, but only get sanction because PRC was directly under the presidency, and because it was directly under presidency, our president and then appointed the chair of that particular commission, and I say that institution, no, with other board members, no. So we need to look at how we can make PRC a stronger regulatory organization, and we can only make it a stronger regulatory organization and an institution when we diffuse it from the presidency. And I said, we should have independent persons on the commission, and devoid of political interest. For example, any question buying a appointee, I think institutions must have their rep. I know that institutions have their rep no crano are buying and appointing those reps onto that particular organization. But Piak here, Yenuanum Cramo for rep also, Yenuan Christo for rep also, civil society or rep, Obia on rep also, and it makes Piak a very stronger organization in terms of communicating their issues to the central government, unlike PRS. And you say, Yanisa, now you will ECG, for example, no. I think the time has come for us to critically look at it, whether government will inject certain liquidity into it for some years when it begins to make very profitable, and then we find a way to list them on the stock, because I believe that if you're listed on the stock, and that's it, Sika GG Abribia Yamfascano, because there's efficient ways to make sure that the company becomes very sustainable in future, not at the call of central government. Yes, I know but many I say within the medium and long term. I believe Baby Jessica, nobody
all right. But I say, Robin is here, that's a pane a yen chichi. Yeah, right. Etienne Ora Ben in Sia and Yano Edin Comono or Executive Director my Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy Nanudin Como regards to the 2 to 5% ECG for EPC or more a day eba na PRC for EG2 more mono.